YouTube output. Good. The chat dock is broken in OBS. Ah, now we're back. Hello, Troper. What's your announcement, my friend? Hello, Hella L. Hello, Rat. We're doing good today. Shadow the Hedgehog is a bitch-ass motherfucker. Good. I was wondering when we would have a lies-only stream, when we would open the stream with a lie so outrageous, so rotund, that the only option was the rest of the stream was going to be all lies. He pissed on my fucking wife. Are you sure she didn't deserve it? What's up, D-Man? Hello, Furry Titan. Coyote, thank you for the 50-bit cheer. I appreciate that contribution to the dog pile, my friend. What is up, Dale? All right, we are successfully live on Twitch. We're successfully live on YouTube. We have a number of people to get through today. As always, we will edit the order based on who is here, who is ready to go, and if people have other scheduling conflicts. But I will grab the order right now, and then we will do the manual ad break, and then we will get into it. Sweet Jimmy, thank you for the 7 months in a row at Tier 1, my friend. Welcome back to the dog home. We do stay hating, and you all stay banished. The order for today. We have Comrade Gorbash, Geezer37, Sudsball, Dale, Hella L, and then Chris/Jackcard. I believe there is at least one person who emailed me saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to be here today. Please roast me. Anyway, I will watch the VOD. So let me find who that is. And they will be delayed in the order. It was Jackcard. So Jackcard, who was already scheduled to be last, is going to stay last, and they're not going to be here, so we are going to roast them without them being in the cuck chair for it. So from the people we're waiting for, I've seen Hella L, I've seen Sudsball, I've seen Dale. I don't know that I've seen Gorbash yet. I think we're still looking for Gorbash. Hey, what's up, Anubion? iVike198, thank you for the 3 months in a row at Tier 1, my friend. Welcome back to the dog home. Oh, you're ill with a fever. I'm sorry about that, Shade. I hope you feel better soon. I hope you're pushing liquids, and I hope those liquids are not shadow piss. JacketBot, hit me with that rant redeem, and then we will use that as our vamp section for the day before we get into the deck roasting for the day. So if we don't see Gorbash, I believe we will be opening up with Sudsball, because I do not see Gorbash or Geezers, but I'm going to keep clicking back and forth between Twitch and YouTube in case I just missed them. God, you know what I should do? I should edit the rant redeem to force you to put the rant message in there. Yeah, there we go. And then I'll do that for a personal question too. Great. Both of those are now fixed forever. Million Ants roast go live on Ko-Fi first Sunday of every month. And Super T-Rex 0505, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Jaces, I appreciate that redemption of the random smasher pass. Smash. Immediately smash. Immediately. I'm making lunch RN. Can I go second? You sure as fuck can. Then if we don't... Oh, Geezers is here. So we will just do Geezers before you, and then we will move on to you. Beautiful. Please rant about group hug decks. Oh, there's a lot of different ways to take this. I could go PSA. I could go judgy. I could talk about what I wish for the group hug players, most of which is negative. Maybe I'll go with a semi-hot take that I don't think should be hot. I think my actually ice-cold take about group hug is that I think it mostly sucks in bracket 2. Almost universally. There may be a few exceptions, but I think for the most part, when you try to play in a bracket 2 game and you introduce group hug into those situations, you put yourself immediately in the position of, all right, I am going to hand Steve the fucking game and pretend that that's all right and didn't fuck up the vibe. Because I think the things that make group hug compelling are when you can switch off the faucet of all the help that you're giving people. Like, so many group hug decks that I have seen are just, what if I gave everybody cards and mana and creatures? Wouldn't that be so kooky and wild and funny? And it is kooky, and if it happens at more than like 10% of games, it's just very boring. Because at that point, we're just opening loot boxes in front of each other at some point. And I think the part where group hug gets compelling is when you can introduce stacks and you can introduce combos so that you are still a like meaningful part of the commander game. And that happens in bracket 3. In bracket 2, it's literally just you fluffing everybody, which is boring as shit. That is the only part that I think might be a hot take for people, because I realize some people have really bad social relationships where they feel like people will only like them if they provide value, and so they gravitate to group hug as a way to try to duck any negative politicking, because they feel like if they ever made their friends mad, their friends would stop being friends with them. And that's something you got to get right with God, not with your commander pod. So yeah, I'll stand on bracket 2 group hug is dog shit. That's my group hug rant. Mauled, could you flip a coin to decide if I make a Gitrog monster deck or a Rendma deck? I cannot decide which to build. Rendma. No coin necessary. Rendma. Group hug, bracket 3, almost 4, but kind of aggressive. I do think group hug is like pretty heavily siloed into 3. I think at bracket 4, again, the stuff that is happening is so powerful that as soon as you give people any advantages, they run away with the game. Bracket 3 is where like there is enough space to give players advantages without it completely ruining the game, and you are allowed to have the tools necessary to stymie that help or turn that assistance off. Would you say Bumbleflower is better than 90% of group hug decks? Oh, I want to be pedantic about this. I get really annoying about other people being pedantic, but I think this is where my dumb little soapbox is going to come out. I don't think the Bumbleflower deck is. I think Bumbleflower herself is narrow enough in her assignment that she tricks group hug players into building better decks, which is functionally the same thing. So I will say I think Bumbleflower is the best group hug commander because she will trick you into advancing your own board state, and because she is handing stuff out in the command zone, people feel less compelled to just give people Oprah level gifts every turn, which is what fucks up group hug. Salty Thing, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Bird aggro it is. It will be made after my silly Blim deck is made. Silly bracket 4, by the way. Boss, is my wacky unique chaos deck family feud slide in the PowerPoint or not? I can't remember, and I know it's in your DMs. I truly do not remember. And we have 76 total slides. Then we have a rant from Elendal. Shadowborn Apostle or Heir Apparent type decks are lazy. I'm not even going to rant about this. I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to say Kindred decks are lazy. And that's fine. This is a silly leisure time game. It's okay to be lazy. What is annoying is when people do a lazy thing and then ask you to fucking clap. That is what kills me. The number of people who outside of the deck roastings have gone, dog, you're gonna fucking lose it when I show you this deck. And then they pull out any of the stuff that is, you can have as many copies of this as you want. Fuck you, man. I'm not gonna say the deck doesn't work. I'm not gonna say you can't play it with me. Like, it's totally fine to play those decks because they work, because they are on rails. But the motherfuckers who insist on being like, sorry, it's too funny. So, you know, like Commander's 99 card singleton, right? Did you know they printed cards and you could have more? I play 30 rabbits. That's fine as a play pattern. I've even seen some decks that are like, you know, like Balin, Heir Apparents. That works shockingly well. The curve on that is shockingly effective. That is a stone cold playable deck. Go play that. Go have fun with it. As soon as we act like it is some creative expression of your deeper spirit, I am asleep at the table. Kindred can be interesting, but unlikely. Soul, I'm going to get a second soapbox on top of my first soapbox and contest that. I legitimately do not believe that is true. I think every interesting decision you can make about a Kindred deck involves breaking the Kindred assignment and including something that is outside of your Kindred creature type to push forward a mechanic or a flavor. And so I think, in my mind, there is a circular logic loop of, if Kindred is boring, and any decision you could make that would make it interesting is going to involve breaking the Kindred lock. Zemmer, you raise another useful point, which is that cards themselves are never interesting. Okay, but without any sarcasm, I'm hoping to make a deck that has cards that exclusively Squadron Hawk effect, the ones that say look for other cards named this but are still singleton. Hey, good luck. White Tiger, Kindred is the new term for tribal. We have retired the phrase tribal in Magic the Gathering. But what if the Kindred theme you choose is just hot women? Well, I think at that point we're beyond the... because there's a mechanical definition of Kindred and there's a spiritual definition of Kindred. Like if you say, oh, this is hot women Kindred, I would just, if we're going to get that semantic about it, I would just go, oh, your theme is hot women. Because Kindred at this point refers to creature type adherence because it has replaced tribal. And so if you go like, oh, it's Kindred, but the Kindred's not a creature type, like, yeah, it's not Kindred anymore. Hey, what's up, Grave Robber? Dale, thank you for the $5 super chat on YouTube. Thoughts on Vazi Keen Negotiator for Jund Group Hug instead of Bant? I like Jund for Group Hug more, but any Jund deck that's doing Group Hug is this, and this is a very, very minor distinction, is going to be called Group Slug instead, because Jund is almost never just directly giving you gifts. Jund is always telling you, hey, this is gonna burn a little, and then they hand you the thing. Whereas true Group Hug is, I am going to give you this thing apropos of nothing mechanically. The only thing I'm going to get back for this gift is usually some type of deal or bargain. Later on, I'm going to judo flip you. Jund is like, oh, hey man, here's some money. By the way, it is coated in acid, so be careful. And then they flick a coin at your eyeball. Maltown, I'd like to petition a specific piece of content from you, Smashability tier list of Planeswalkers. So, Peta Dude, let's talk about that, since we have at least 3 more minutes before I can begin doing the roasts, lest I fuck up my branding. I will probably reintroduce sub-goals for Smashability tier lists. In general, they're never going to be a thing I do for nothing for a few reasons. The first reason is I cannot monetize them. When that stream goes on YouTube, YouTube will be like, you were talking about fucking, we're not paying you anything. I cannot cut that stream into a VOD. When I try to cut that down, YouTube will once again go, you were talking about fucking, we're not paying you anything, you're a bad, 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 bad boy. It takes a lot of time. Now, it would probably pull views. There's a lot of things I could do to pull views. So if it is taking a time slot that is used by a different stream, that could be deck roasting, could be spoiler stuff, could be a safe for work tier list that I can publish and turn into money, it's always on the losing side of that equation. And 3, there is very little space for me to do anything creatively interesting. We love it. We love arguing about who the hottest Planeswalker is and just how fucking ugly Teferi is. But it doesn't bring me a lot of creative fulfillment either, because it's just me trying to think about trying to be very, very clever while talking about titties. And so it's pretty low on upsides. And there are meaningful downsides of I'm basically like chucking time into the ether. We've done it before with EDH rec, like Smashability tier list, the first 50 commanders on EDH rec, the first 100 commanders on EDH rec. So we will bring it back, but it will be brought back as a sub-goal, and that sub-goal will be pursuant to how much time and effectively money am I setting on fire. Trying to be clever while talking about titties equals every teen ever. Right, and teenagers are not very funny. Almost all of them are exactly 0% funny. a small number of them are a little bit funny. All of them think they're funny. D-Man, thank you for the Rant Redeem. Slimes against humanity or cards against humanity, which becomes unfunny faster. Can't make a determination. It is entirely pilot dependent. I have seen both Cards Against Humanity and Slimes Against Humanity be hilarious and be completely and totally unfunny. It is all in the hands of the person playing the cards. An Alias MTG, thank you for the Rant Redeem. Rant about how Jund is the color identity that takes the least skill to build and pilot and has the least sauce apart from put all the commanders in the deck and it still works. I mean, Alias, this is crazy Bant erasure. I don't even know how we got there. Like, Bant is the Build-A-Bear factory. I don't care if you're doing counters. I don't care if you're doing ramp. Like, Bant is the only color where new players can accidentally, successfully, non-deterministically storm. We all remember this stupid motherfucker. Number one tricker of new players. Number one trickery master who makes new players think they're hot. It's not Jund by an incredible fucking margin. What you are feeling is that anything with green can be built and piloted half asleep. That is true of any color identity that has green in it. You do Gruul, you do Simic, you do Selesnya, you do Golgari, and then you extend it to the 3 color combinations. All of these color combinations, if you lean into the green part of the color identity, you can build the deck while taking a nap, wake up, find a commander game, take a second nap while you're playing. You will have won or come in second. And so if you feel like it's Jund, it's probably because the people you have played with specifically like Jund. But I am telling you, as somebody who has played against all manner of color combinations, that shit is Bant every time. Yeah, Bant is, what if I got advantage with a side of advantage? And then for dessert, I think I would like more advantage. Mimo, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse. And D-Man, thank you for the 50-bit cheer. I'm fairly certain a Smashability tier list would make it so you never beat the goon allegations ever. No, I still could. Part of this is that Jund doesn't have interesting commanders. This comes back to cards aren't interesting, people are. If you cannot make this deck compelling, that is a you problem. Siri, please pull up the note where I have the 3-paragraph gentle explanation of why something is a skill issue. Thank you. Siri, can we increase the sassiness by 12% and call them a bitch at least 7 more times? Great. Okay, I'm going to get your phone number and I'm going to send you a voice memo. Tox Tank, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home for the 3rd month in a row. And then Ying Jin Hai and the Cusk, thank you for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the doghouse. I mean, it's like the... but you look around and it's just uninspiring. I think you can make that. Here, let me every commander in the world can be roasted via this pipeline. And so going, oh, this commander is uninspiring, oh, this commander just provides straight value, you can do that to pretty much every fucking commander in the game, and it's just whatever value loop you personally enjoy executing the most. But the moment you try to be like, my my value loop is like more complicated, I earned it more than you did, like, we're just lying. We're just lying to talk shit. Yeah, me when my opponent's card does something. Because for, like, if you see an Azorius deck, you just go like, oh, wow, you put in a counterspell? You're so brave for that. You see a green deck? Oh, wow, you put in ramp? You're so brave for that. Golgari, like, oh, wow, you put in a self-mill card? You're so brave for that. And then you just keep moving down the chain of, like, propaganda effects for Pillow Fort decks, cost reducers or Burgi for Izzet decks, self-mill engines or reanimation for Golgari decks, sacrifice outlets for aristocrats decks. Like, every good commander in the game can be boiled down to a basic gameplay loop that they can extract advantage from. And so I think Bants tend to be the most straightforward, and I think the Bant decks that I have seen, like, turn those, I think Bant has consistently been the most boring when it comes to turning those advantage engines into a game win. But everybody's just picking, like, what is the A plus B loop I want to get value out of? Yeah, and I think really Bant could have interesting stuff if it was not for +1/+1 counters. If it was if we had never invented the concept of a +1/+1 counter, Bant would be infinitely more interesting, because everything Bant does tends to devolve into go wide tokens or +1/+1 counters teehee. I don't think I've seen a Bant token list ever. That's fair. Oh no, I've seen one. Galadriel are the Bant token lists I've seen. And motherfuckers love some Galadriel. Yeah, it's the Alliance lady. IDK, I will always hate Jun's skillless gameplay and easy bake oven ass deck design. I both want and do not want to dig into this. I mean, if we think Jund has easy bake oven gameplay what do we think has interesting gameplay? Because Jund is typically trying to navigate some combination of like combat damage, death triggers, reanimation, sacrifice, which that's not calculus, but like what it was. Simic ramp, is that who really gets the juices flowing? Mono black, float infinite mana, kill everybody. Gruel, I played cultivate, now I win. Most of this feels like I have a friend who beats me to death regularly with a Jund deck, and so now I'm incredibly mad. I've lost I have lost untold games to Corvold, and now I'm very mad. Tuscan Fury, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Playing lands is more fun than touching cards. You are wrong, and I dislike you. But thank you for the money. And Sampley Lee, thank you for the 2 months in a row at Tier 1, my friend. Welcome back to the dog home. Announcement stream. I announced that you need Siri to sass you at least 20% more. I will consider it. That's exactly what it is, NGL, consistent games where I'm dead on turn 4 to 5 or facing down an insurmountable board state that fast and I just can't. Alias, with love in my heart, there are two things this could be. Either you are playing high power decks with a reckless lack of removal, or you are playing low power into a high power deck. If a Jund deck is killing you on turn 4 to 5, I would wager that is a bracket 4 deck. There might be some that can squeak in through the definition of bracket 3, but that is like bracket 3, bracket 4. If on turn 4 to 5 you are dead or you have a 1 to 2 turn clock looking at you. And what may be happening, if it is people tend to underrate how good creatures are. Creatures are always relevant. Even in CEDH, large creatures are becoming more and more relevant. It's one of the reasons Kinnan is always such a good commander, where even if you don't combo off, putting a big shithead onto the board is relevant. And so a lot of higher powered decks, will undersell themselves because they are using creatures. They will be like, oh, my deck can't be good. It's a beatdown deck. I'm not running Thoracle. I am not running an infinite mana combo. That means that it's funny and therefore not strong. You can laugh a lot while you beat a man to death with a hammer. That's all I'm going to say. I run plenty of removal, but I'm the only one in the pod who does, and if I don't draw it, no one does. I mean, that sounds to me like you just might have to kick your own stuff up a notch in terms of adapting to your meta. Like, either play stacks, because if you're having one-off pieces of removal that aren't enough to hold the table down, you might need to stacks the table. If anybody can win on turn 4 to 5, your pod deserves stacks. Alias's pod. If you can win on turn 4, you deserve to be hit with a Collector Oof or a Blood Moon or whatever can shut off your strategy. You are a big boy or big girl or big creature, and you can handle it without pissing yourself. Now there is definitely the friction of my pod is playing in a way that I could beat, but I am not allowed to play the way I want to play and deal with the reckless children that I am babysitting on Commander Night. And that is just tough. That's just a tough one, and you have to psychologize those motherfuckers. Benjamin, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate that generosity. And Nathiator, thank you for the 2 months at tier 1. Welcome to the dog home as well. The same Jund player got pissy I won with a Beast Kindred deck via Triumph of the Hordes. Yeah, so Alias, I don't think you dislike Jund. I think you dislike Tony. Straight up. I think Tony is not a fun person to play Magic with, and you dislike Jund because Tony plays a lot of Jund. Atavistic, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Project, you've missed nothing but vamping. CG Death, thank you for the drink water redeem. I'm going to get some water. We're going to get into Geezer's deck, but I can already feel my neck trying to go, so I'm going to go take some Advil and Tylenol, and I will be right back. Brosenthal UO, thank you for gifting a community sub, my friend. Welcome to Dog Heaven. Put that one right here, next to my heart. We're going to hit a 1-minute ad break while I go take over-the-counter pain medication, and then I will be right back to get into Geezer's deck. All right. Zimmy, thank you for the 7 months in a row at tier 1, my friend. Welcome back to the dog home. JetG951415, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub, my friend. Welcome to the dog home. Fade King, we're going to do your rant after the first deck as a between deck vamping, because we've been going for like 40 minutes and we got to get into the business for the day. MLP is asking, what are you going to play after Darkest Dungeon? Zenorum currently has a $100 bounty on me playing XCOM. So that's currently the leading possibility. All right, we have a spooky deck from Geezers. Radha the Rip Cord. No, fucking not another snail disciple. Okay. Primers on Moxfield. Haymaker, power level spooky, play pattern. All right, we play Radha. We win. Still playtesting ratios. Yeah, you goddamn motherfucker. First 4 turns, highly reliable. Turn 5, the deck sputters out like 15% of the time. Yeah, this deck working would require a Gruul player to know how to plan for the future, and I'm pretty sure your like 401k plan is just a front double bicep pose. The deck functionally commits to not affecting the board for turns 1 through 3. After that, everything has to have an impact. Everything should be an engine or have a direct and immediate impact. I've prioritized removal, but there's still some direct damage. I generally attack very aggressively as I need to swing the momentum off my slow start. If it comes to a top deck war, I have higher than average card quality. Okay. So we have Cultivate in the command zone. Therefore, we win the game. Ah, here are all your fucking mistakes. My card quality is higher than average, he said, filling his deck with ramp after putting ramp in the command zone. All right. So I was almost with you. I was almost with you with the whole counterweight commander thing. And now listen, to be clear, I generally avoid watching other Magic content. I do not know Snail's entire thesis about what counterweight commanders are. Don't tell me in chat, I'm not going to read it. What I believe them to be is if your commander can do something well, it means your deck can ignore that thing. If your commander is very good at removal, like Deadpool, or very good at ramp, like Radha, it opens up the possibility of you don't have to waste cards in the 99 on that thing because now your commander's doing it for you. It's up in the command zone. So we have a mana dork in the command zone, which theoretically should allow us to go everything else is gas. Everything else is cool. We don't have to worry about like delayed win more bullshit because Radha is jump starting us to 4 mana and we can just play really good 4 mana, 5 mana creatures. And then what did we do? A fifth of the deck is additional ramp. So now this allows us to start our curve at 6. So that means turn 4, we can believe that we're going to have access to 6 mana at least and only play crazy good cards. The problem with that is because the deck is full of ramp now, we are reducing the concentration of good cards in favor of making the ceiling higher, which does draw the ceiling higher but leads to that sputtering out because now like on balance we're going to we're just going to be drawing ramp. Like card quality higher than normal, yeah, until you draw the 3rd migration path. And yeah, we would lose, so we don't get to add, so we do not get the jump start to 4. We have a mana dork who we're going to lose this mana after combat. God, do I hate this. Alright. So what can we do? This is not card draw. What we can do is work on definitions. So Cavalier of Flame, you can card select. Card selection is great when we're not vomiting our hand onto the field, which most Gruul decks are trying to do. Cultivator Colossus. Hell yeah, turn all of our lands into draw, and it's just a big fucking shithead. We get the Monarch. So for 7 mana, we get 1 card, and then everybody tries to kill us. For 6 mana, check top 5 for creatures. For 7 mana, we can look at the top card of our library. Alright, I'm going to call the inclusion of Primordial Sage is officially the point at which you got lost in the sauce. And we've gotten so turned around by trying to adhere to this, like, counterweight commander, not clergy, not prayer, but adhere to this assignment of I'm always playing 4 mana ramp on turn 3. We're playing a more expensive version of this effect for straight up no reason. For straight up no reason other than we have a snail-shaped worm in our brain telling us, hey, our turn 3 play is ramp. And then we have... So we have a lot of ways to draw cards, but now what I want to draw your attention to is we have a third of our deck dedicated to not doing anything. Some of these are good bodies. I would say Cultivator Colossus is the best body you have, followed by, we have like an 8/8 that can give us hexproof, but in the primer we talk about like, oh, because I'm skipping so many turns, everything needs to do something. And that's where we return to talking about definitions and expectations of what doing something is. Most of these look like continuing to wind up for a future punch. Or in Frostfang, that is delaying another turn to try to draw even more cards in the future. And so engines are important, but we are all engine, no wheels. This is the old and busted Jeep that your brother has been working on in the garage for 30 years, and all he's done is take it up to a fucking V20 engine, and it does not have a frame, it does not have axles, it does not have seats, it's just one gigantic fucking diesel engine. Which I realize Jeeps don't have. Fuck you. Alright, Crash Out. No. Yes. 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 Yes enough. No. No. Well, kind of. Sure. Yes. 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 No. No. Well, kind of. Haha, mana curve, go burr. So, like, this is the section that should be a third of your deck. It should not be 8 cards. If we are going to ramp in the command zone and say, okay, I'm going to skip... I know the counterweight commander. Counterweight commander. Snail said it's okay. The mana wall. So it's okay to start on 4. Right? We have a 2 mana commander we're always going to be able to play who can always provide us with at least a little bit of mana. So sure, our curve is going to start much later in the game. Way more of our deck has to be, this is a fucked up good card. I would define Atali Primal Conqueror. This is what we want to draw every game. Not every card in our deck can be Atali Primal Conqueror, of course. It's a very strong card. But this is what we are aiming for every single game. And we've committed way too much to ramping on turn 4. This is correct, by the way. Buster Sword is still the best card in this deck. Rurik Thar, also good. Pet card Sanctuary. Of course, this man's a fucking pet card. I mean, the thing is, in this deck, I would believe this Garuk can do okay. Because most of your creatures are, like, you have plenty of green creatures. Now, it will kind of non-bow if you put in Apex Devastator. Unga Bunga. Terrible. Terrible. This is your pet card Sanctuary. Not Bane of Progress. Sure. But this is, again, like... This looks like the threatening creature section as developed by a limited player. A lot of these cards are threatening in a 1v1 environment if you could get them out very quickly, but they're not threatening in a 4v4 environment. This one's threatening enough in 4v4. Yeah, man. Okay. Screamer Killer. That's what we're doing. Because I think another thing we have to consider is we're probably only casting one spell a turn. And so at most, Screamer Killer is just putting 5 additional damage on the table each turn, which isn't nothing, but in the realm of like Gruul Stompy is kind of nothing. So let's just go to the goldfish to finish shaming you before I help you somewhat against my will. Hey, look, our opening hand's gonna work because we got... Am I even gonna fucking play Radha? Yeah, I guess I'm gonna play Radha. Turn 3. A Soul Ring. And I think this is actually kind of perfect, is we have 3 pieces of ramp. We have 2 potential threats. Kogla's good. And this is good if we have other creatures. So this isn't bad, but way too much of the deck is dedicated to what if even more manas. And we do Map the Frontier. I get Stomping Ground and Game Trail. These are basic lands, by the way. Mango, please zoom in on these and put up text that says MTG Rule 104.69a. Stomping Ground and Game Trail are basic lands and therefore searchable by Map the Frontier. All right, now we have a million monies. We have what? We have 9 mana available. So we play Zapandrel. Each combat, now we have a ton of big assholes. Brazen Coalition, thank you for the raid, my friend. I hope you're having a good stream. And then we have Blighted Woodland. And then we go... I mean, we can go Kogla, or we can just gamble. We do Turn Timber Symbiosis. We look at the top 7. Perfect. Perfect. I could not have scripted that top deck better. So what did we get out of our big scary stompy deck when we get to look at the top 7 cards? We have 1 potential hit that we don't really like right now because it's a finisher. We have a pie in the sky synergy play. We have a ramp engine. We have ramp, and then we have more lands. I am at least a little bit sympathetic to having a lot of lands in this deck because you really want to hit your land drops, but the problem with this deck is not any individual impulse other than playing green. The problem with this deck is proportion. You have skipped leg day. All you have done, or like Maybe you've skipped arm day, actually. That might be the better comparison, because you have these like ridiculously strong engines and you have nowhere to put them. And you end up looking kind of shockingly weak. All he's done is core. He can hold a plank for 20 minutes but cannot throw a punch to save his life. So all we really have to do to fix it is shave the stuff that is weaker on the advantage side and put in more gigantic big shitheads that are really scary when you see them. We do have Gruul Rage Beast. Fuck this card. I would recommend cutting the artifact ramp, mainly because this deck is going to be incredibly vulnerable to a board wipe, and artifact board wipes are getting more common. We still kill someone this turn? I mean, sure, because Craterhoof, but like we're looking, so let's look at that playtest not as a bad showing of the deck, but as a, that is what we want the standard to be, and not something that was only achievable because we lucked out on getting a doubler plus Craterhoof. Can we agree to that? Like, I'm not saying the deck can't function. I'm saying the deck is being made, it's like, this is actually one of the rare situations where I think you have built the floor too high and the ceiling small, or at least weird. The vision I'm getting is more like the ceiling of the deck is vaulted, like it's high in certain spots and it's really low in other spots. Nyx Bloom Ancient is fucking ridiculous. I don't think it gets folded by a single. I think the only thing that causes this deck to fold to a single removal spell is that it lacks threats, and so if you shoot the first threat, they're probably fucked. This deck looks like it can recover from having Radha shot at least one time, because it has so many lands you just slow it down. But that doesn't make it stop playing Magic. Fuck this. We're doing off-color fetches, and our top end is fucking Screamer Killer. Hell yeah, dog. This is like having a 3-hour daily looks maxing routine while you drive your wife to her affair partner's house. Why? It's just such a needlessly deep step in terms of making the deck consistent, while we have so brazenly neglected big creature that hit guy. All right, one of our few playtests that is going to have no lands. Let's pretend I played this in the right order, and we get to scry 1. That'll go to the bottom. So now we get to go, boom, turn turn 4 play, or turn 3 play, whatever. Play. Now we can drop Bane of Progress. Bane of Progress probably feels bad to drop because the board's not going to be that full. This can be a meta call on your end if you have a table that just shits artifacts and enchantments. I don't think we have a lot of targets at this point. We can play Karlach, who, kind of similar to Zopandrel, really good once we have other creatures, really bad when we don't. This is not a very imposing board state for like bracket 3-ish. We go to our next turn, and we're hitting more ramp. Which again, like we have what? 7? We have 8 mana. So like I'll kick Hunting Wilds, which kind of scares me. I don't want to... I'm not going to kick it. I will double cast Ramp, and we'll get 4 lands out. So we will get Reflecting Pool, Stomping Ground, Beseju Who Endures, and Wooded Foothills, which now taps for mana. We play another land. It's turn 6. We're richer than God. We have no creatures to purchase. Maybe at this point, Bane of Progress can hit for a meaningful amount. I'll be nice. I'll say we tap this, we get at least 1 from us. We get at least 1 from each player. Maybe even an extra. We have a 7/7. We wait another turn and we pray that doesn't get removed. We last March of the Ents. We put these 2 to field. And then hopefully between Craterhoof and the multiple combats, we get to kill whoever's in the lead. This makes us happy. This is a perfectly fine thing. This does require nobody is mean to us the entire game. Nobody reacts strongly to us playing Bane of Progress. And nobody ever slows us down. We spent a lot of the game drawing lands and drawing more ramp than we needed. Like, we're getting so much ramp that we are always casting a spell, having mana left over, but never having enough to double spell, which is a terrible spot to be in a deck that appears allergic to interaction. So I would recommend, as your doctor, cutting 3 to 5 of the ramp spells, probably 1 to 2 lands if we're on 40 fucking 1. Even the Ancient Tomb. Do not play a mana doubler 1/2/4. I will fucking ban you if you say that again. There are some things like Beast Whisperer that are just a 1-to-1 better version of Primordial Sage, but dog, I'm gonna say it, you're down so bad, I wouldn't even blink if you played Harmonize at this point. Like, that's how kind of rough our turn 3 plays look right now. Is I would care a lot more about... So few of these creatures make me feel good. I would want more things I could play on turn 4 that would make me feel good. So I'm thinking about, like, Harmonize, even fucking God. This? Because we have so many lands in the deck that any time we draw a land after turn 3, the noise we make is very, it sounds like a fantasy elf being kicked. It's kind of like, maybe a little squeakier. Every time we see a land come off the top, post turn 3. DMC, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. I just don't understand why we have the ramp necessary to play other Radha. Well, in the primer, it says they are playtesting the ratios. And so I think this is just a, like, very simple answer. The ratio is way too heavy on the ramp. You are way too green-pilled at present moment. That almost sounded like a Minecraft villager getting kicked. And I do think that is the same, like, that's the noise we make. We certainly do not need X-cost creatures. But we do certainly need, like, Beast Whisperer. Little Mixed Doom, I'm building Y'shtola Knights Blessed Super Friends. What level of hell am I going to? You shouldn't be going to any level of hell. That sounds like community service where you let your friends beat up super friends, which is a morally good thing to do. Okay, so let's talk about like other creatures that are just, holy fuck, what are you doing with 4 mana, Step Radha? This is what you want. This is how we save you. Is we have more things on that we can play on turn 4 that are either a threat or an engine, and not a, wow, I really hope that I can play a 6 mana card on turn 5. We do not care for 1/1 counters at all. I think if we want the riot effect, we want the riot effects on a creature like we already have on Surak and Goreclaw. Yeah, there is also Minskin Boo. This is another phenomenally fucked up 4 mana Gruul card. It will either make you a growing threat with Trample and Haste, or you can turn the motherfucker into card draw. But these are more things you can play for 4 mana that will demand an answer. But where is all of the removal? We're getting to that. I don't like green Goreclaw. This is an improvement. Maybe this is an improvement, but this feels only 1 step away from 4 mana ramp. It is primarily a cost reducer. Can we make this work? We really don't have... Let's see. We don't have anything that is going to loop the Halana and Elena buffs, but it is a haste enabler. It does make everything a little bit bigger. This is a like threat. If we play this on turn 4, you leave this around, you probably kill at least 1 player because of it. There we go. Yeah, this is what we do. And I think all of these go in just substituting in the 4 mana ramp section. And now these are like engines that we can play on our curve. And now suddenly our game plan starts a turn earlier. We have more ways to haste in the supremely threatening things. I feel like I'm gonna vine boom you. I feel like this one is too slow. I feel like this one is in the same vibe as before. This is like turn 4. We're setting up for a great thing that might happen turn 5 or turn 6. Rather than playing something that can set up and does something meaningful for damage threat immediately. Like Halana and Elena. This is, I can hit you with a flying creature. DMC, thank you for the 45-bit cheer. Could we consider changing our ramp to dorks and adding Ragadraga? I don't like that. I think if we change our ramp to dorks, we are immediately killed by any board wipe. We have up the beanstalk already. Not in the current version of our deck, because most of the playtests we only get like 2 or 3 of these fucking guys onto the board. Like this is just, I draw 2 cards a game. Yeah, Geezer. Axe to the ramp section. I would even say Scalpel to the land section. And then it all becomes threatening things or things that draw you cards at 4 CMC, so that you have more games where the turn 3 play is, now I have my card draw engine, or now I have a developing threat. Considering section is full of me getting lost in the sauce. Let's look. 89! I mean, not the worst, but I do think you exile a ton of your threats this way. Same deal here, but again, not the worst. Hugs, I think, is stone cold playable, actually. I might be lost in the sauce, but boy, does it fucking taste good. I think this is like, if you play it on turn 4, it's just a trampling creature. Or turn 3, it's just a trampling creature. If you play it any later than that, it's some degree of card advantage. I think this could come in later once we get you more threats and more creatures on board. Oh man, this blue cheese is crazy, dog. I think you should play Titan of Industry, Terastodon, and Apex Altasaur. I think more of your really, really big guys, like that's who Screamer Killer should die for, quite frankly. Or even Silverback Elder. Or especially Dracuseth. We do need more things that just say, hey, we need more things that say, hey, I played this, I'm going to kill the advantage engines that you set up. If you're trying to keep parity and bracket, actually, I don't even know. You can't cheat this in. I legitimately don't like it here. You count pretty high. Like, the strength of this deck is we count to 4 very quickly, and we count to a number between 6 and 8 relatively quickly. We don't really count to 12. We can't get... We're a green player. We can't get off 2 hands. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Gotcha, 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 gotcha. I think this guy is also doable. Trampling creature, very good threat that will turn aggressive swinging into more creatures, and we want a ton more stuff like that, which is why, even though Buster Sword falls off quickly as combat damage falls off, we do want more things that turn combat damage into, hey, I have a new thing. Free my boys. No, keep them jailed forever. You could probably put this in. Like, I have Lurking Predators in a deck with... I have Lurking Predators in a deck where the average creature is fucking Azorius Guildmage. And it's still good. Oh, Fade King, that is a good call out. Swap at least one of your turn 3 ramp spells for this guy. You either play it for the impending, or you play it later as just a big guy who continues to ramp you. Starry-Eyed, this is considering. Okay, and then a lot more just flatly ridiculous shit. And truly, I think from there, we are fixed. I mean, the deck has all the personality of a functional zipper, except right now the zipper doesn't close. And we can get it there. All you have to do to get it there is worry less about having 1,000,000 mana and worry more about, what if I could spend 4 mana for something cool one time? We don't want Kona. That's the sauce we're getting lost in. We are already scamming our play group by having cultivate, by having a mana dork in the command zone. Llanowar elves in the command zone, strong. It's stupid, but it is strong. And trying to go, okay, what if I used that cheatery to set up a different level of cheatery? Another domino. What if I could build a castle made of dominoes? Versus like, I don't know, man, just play a good 4-mana creature. Just play a 4-mana creature that doesn't require you to have another better creature in your hand to do anything. All right, let's clear off all these fine folks. We're assuredly down here. The only thing pulling us out of this corner is that we got pretty lost in the goddamn sauce. And this is not necessarily a bad place to be. This just means that the fun in your Commander games has to mostly come from you as a pilot. Your cards are not providing you with many opportunities to act flavorfully, and you have to be a silly little guy as you play it. But if you say, let it rip before every spell you cast, gold star. And you're just way too into stocks, man. You're just way too into stocks, but also in a boring way. Like most young people who are way too into stocks, they're like doing options, they're taking big risks. You're giving us like a 3-hour PowerPoint presentation on why we should invest in Dole because like fruit's gonna be huge in the next 30 years. Starry-eyed, you would be wrong. Index funds the deck. Index funds, but I never spend them. So Geezer, thank you for submitting. We're going to hit a manual ad break, and then it's time for Suds Ball. Ruby is better. Oh yeah, I mean sure. 1-to-1 swap, and this is equally useful to you. I think the only situation in which Radha's better is if you put the Buster Sword on her and she's unblocked. Yeah, you never really get to use the red even if you produce it with Radha. Alright, I will be right back, everybody. And then, Suds Ball, we're gonna get your ass. All right. Little Mix Doom, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Are we at the point where we can say Muruganda Raceway is strictly better than Temple of the False God? Absolutely not. The average commander player is a bitch who will not swing unless they are about to die. Absolutely not. I would play this over Temple of the False God, but most people will have an easier time getting to 5 total lands than they will getting to 4 speed. Oh, keyboard strict. So if you ever say something is strictly anything in Magic the Gathering, you are just rage baiting. That is actually, that's one of the internal content creator tips. When so in the group chat where every Magic content creator in the world is in together, all we do is talk about what thing should we say is strictly better or strictly worse than this other thing. The word is exclusively used to clickbait people. All right, we're gonna delay Fade King's rant again because I'm already in the fucking cut, and we're gonna look at Sudsball's spooky deck. This, oh, we got an email, right? Email change, yeah. Let me look at the, this is Final Fantasy spoilers. So if you are attempting to totally avoid spoilers for the Final Fantasy set, please mute the tab and look away for about 20 minutes starting now, as we are going to be discussing Final Fantasy cards. The first Final Fantasy game I played was 7, and Sephiroth was one of the reasons the franchise stuck on me and has been a big part of my life since. Normally I like to build decks based on some of my favorite decks from 60-card formats, but Final Fantasy is a big exception because it is my childhood franchise. Sephiroth's one of the few times I built a deck from scratch without an existing reference plan, so I'm looking for any critiques or improvements. Goal of the deck, transform Sephiroth for his emblem, kill the table with repeated edicts, self-sack, and board wipe. We can quickly transform Sephiroth via cards like Pladecrafter, etc., etc., etc. What I'm looking for advice on: there is an infinite combo because we are in Black Aristocrats. All of these cards are very good role players in the deck, but I'm not sure about having an infinite in the deck for power level reasons. On one hand, I could keep it and take the deck in a direction that is configured around finding the infinite, since it's probably the best thing to do. On the other hand, I'm not sure I would enjoy the resulting deck because it would lose out on Seph maxing, which goes against my original vision. There's card choices. How effective is it at closing out the game? Well, now we get to talk about philosophy, because I think that's quite important. There are 2 reasons to run Sephiroth. 1, you love twinks. 2, you love aristocrats. We already know what Sudsball is on. And to the question about what should I do with the infinite, I am always a big proponent of you either play to the infinite or you cut it completely. If you are a player who has a deck that can go infinite and you're like, no, the deck is bad and kooky and then sometimes I just win, I hate that. I really dislike those play patterns. I think it should either be like, yeah, this deck has a combo, I will be spending the game doing stuff and mostly looking for my combo, or deck doesn't have a combo. For aristocrats specifically, I've looked at a ton of decks. I've tried to rehabilitate you people. There is no fixing you. I'm kind of coming around to the idea that you just should be higher power. I think aristocrats as an archetype exists better at like bracket 3, bracket 4, where you are seeking out loops and infinites anyway, because any attempt to make them like kooky bracket 2, they're just annoying and also weak. Versus bracket 3, bracket 4, you know, somebody might not like the play pattern, but you know, chest out, ready to I resent that you changed my Extus deck from aristocrats to tokens. Right, and changing it off of aristocrats is how we made it more fun. I think if you stay aristocrats, like I think you either stay high, like you either go high power or you focus on something that is not aristocratic in nature. Extus has other things they can focus on. Sephiroth does not have another goddamn thing it can focus on. Like, mono black aristocrats go infinite with a ham sandwich, and Sephiroth is just wandering around in the deli section of his local Safeway. So if you want to do this Sephiroth, like the only way we do this where I don't think you end up high power aristocrats is if you play the other Sephiroth, which is Fallen Hero. You could do Planet's Heir, but Planet's Heir is quite bad. But this is the other Sephiroth you could pick, and you could Sephiroth max without necessarily doing aristocrats. Your angle or your deb... Elikman, you are correct, but we rehabilitated you to not being an aristocrat player. We did not rehabilitate you into being a like kooky aristocrats player. You might have had some, but at this point we're in mostly a semantic argument. All I'm really saying is we cannot focus on maximizing an aristocrat emblem and stay, damn, he's fine. Holy shit. Wait, what Final Fantasy is? 7. That might be what we play after Darkest Dungeon. Alright, so we have more Death Drain. Sure. We do not have very many sack outlets, but you have found 3 of the best ones in the game. We have single target removal, we have ramp, and we have, yep, the classic. The classic. Yeah, hey man, let's just bracket 4, brother. Bracket 4, my man. That's where we're going. We're we have blown a hole in the side of Precon jail with shaped charges, and we are making it straight the fuck out. Sure, Pawn of Ulamog. Yeah, sure. We're doing a lot of edicts. That's kind of clever. And then we have all of our edicts to try and flip Sephiroth on cast. So for those of you who have not seen this card yet, if 4 creatures die in one turn, Sephiroth flips. Which means if you play something like Fleshbag Marauder, where you sack a creature and each opponent sacks one, you get an emblem that has the Blood Artist text of whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. We have Vat of Rebirth. This is probably a flavor include that will be dying for the cause of bringing this deck up in power. So Sudsball, this is nothing against you. If anything, this is a compliment to you as a deck builder. But you said, you know, this is one of the first decks we've built with no template or outside help. And if we ran the ancestry.com on this deck versus every mono black bracket 3, bracket 4 aristocrats package, it's coming back like 98% familial resemblance. Because the only thing you can really do is like, oh hey, what are the really good sack outlets? Oh hey, what are creatures I can recur or token makers? I think mobilize is good. You a bitch FR. Sus. Yeah, Drivnod's up in here. Oh, God, I hate recommending this, but I do think the best thing this deck can do is slap in tutors, become a high bracket combo deck, because as it is, you know, we could cut Orcish Bowmasters, we could cut, are there any other game changers? No. We could cut the one game changer from this deck and attempt to call it a bracket 2 deck, and it's still the best thing we do every game is board control until we find our infinite. You little bitch. You little shitter. Then we play this. We don't even have to. Oh no, we can order the triggers so that we get our 1/1 mirror and then sack it for a card. Hey, that's nice and clever. Hey, that's cute. I like that. Look at that. That's almost a personality. And then turn 4. All right, Fleshbag Marauder. Boom. I flip Sephiroth. I have my emblem. I swing Sephiroth. I sack this or the 1/1 to draw a new card. Next turn, I play this. I play Yawgmoth. I sack the 1/1 I got to Genesis Chamber. I put a -1/-1 counter on something, draw a card, and we're pinging people with the Blood Artist shit the whole time. And at this point, we could fuck around so hard that we could board wipe everybody and then replay Sephiroth and then play a Cursed Marauder and reflip him for a second emblem. No, Rod, does not have to be your creatures dying. It just has to be 4 creatures die in a turn, which any creature-based edict will achieve the turn you play it. Like, the turn 4, like the most common turn to flip Sephiroth on is turn 4. You will maybe get some turn 3s if you have a Soul Ring opener, but on average, it is just turn 3 I play Sephiroth, turn 4 I flip Sephiroth. So the beauty, because I am all about playing Commander for what's going to allow you to have the most fun, and I am going to tell you, not for free because this is a fucking deck roast, but I am going to tell you the beauty of Sephiroth is nothing mechanically unique. You get more benefits out of edicts than other people, but the beauty of Sephiroth is I get to play a powerful archetype while staring lovingly into the eyes of my favorite twink in the entire world. That is the joy of Sephiroth. I think with Boros Sephiroth, you can try to get something a little spicy going. This is like salt, pepper, maybe a pinch of paprika. And that is your Genesis Chamber include, which is quite cute. It is quite cute that you put in Genesis Chamber. I think it works really well for the deck. And that is the tiny pinch of paprika. That's why I was wondering about the win con thing. How effective is it at winning instead of just locking people in removal jail? And that is why I think we go high power and go tutors. Because it's relatively ineffective at winning until we establish a loop. Once you establish a loop, everybody should either concede or just die because you've gone infinite. And so more of the deck should be dedicated to, all right, let me get to this infinite, let me get to this loop and just win. So like Jet Medallion, who cares? Like there's the other typical, hey man, Wally's gotta die. Genesis Chamber is the pet robot. We don't have room for a second one. You gotta kill Wally right fucking, hey. You've done your job, buddy. Rest easy. This is Solemn Simulacrum's unsuspecting robot penis, by the way. You've done your job. You've had a good run. And it's time for you to go to the great Facebook AI marketplace in the sky. So we kill this guy. We kill Wayfarer's Bauble. I think we kill Jet Medallion. And we go for the tutors. We go for, you know what's actually, with that Genesis Chamber bullshit. Oh, do I want to, you're an Aristocrats player. You deserve to suffer. Yeah. Hope and pray that you will be casting Beseech the Mirror with a Genesis Chamber token to sacrifice every game. And then on top of that, things like Phyrexian Altar will turn on more loops for you. The Forsaken Miner loop, in particular, you can sacrifice Forsaken Miner for black and then use the Blood Artist emblem to trigger his crime thing. And so that will give you more redundancy too. You can have more tutors for your loops, and because everything in Aristocrats is like A plus B plus C or B plus C plus D, the B's and C's are all going to overlap, where the B's and C's are these recurable creatures and these altars. And I would just crank that shit nasty style. Yeah, just full send. I think you're going to have more fun. I think if you want to Sephiroth max, you are going to have more fun Sephiroth maxing if you do not hold back. I have not seen this man. I've obviously not played any games with this man. He does not look like someone who's little beaning his way through the narrative. But Boros Sephiroth is going to be where you go if you want to have a lower power, like combat damage based back and forth struggle win con. Get Boros Sephiroth, try to get some modified creatures, make them big, large, and huge. This guy, you skip gaslighting, you skip gatekeeping, all you do is girl boss, and girl boss is gonna look a whole heck like an Aztec Sun Festival. Little Mixed Doom, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Sephiroth is a canonical mama's boy, while Kefka is just a genuine lunatic, and we love him for it. Isn't that all Aristocrats players, though? Hell yeah, Will the Absand dog. Blood Pet's fine, yeah. Yeah, we play it turn 1 to get Sephiroth, turn 2 to then flip him turn 3. Sure, this is another path to getting that fabled turn 3 emblem. Good evening, Danny. He is quite, well, he's cute, kind of like a bulldog. He gives big dumb lizard energy. Yeah, if big dumb lizards had like plutonium in their belly, because this is the big dumb lizard that is owned by every Lex Luthor-esque supervillain, and the nuclear codes are hidden in its stomach, and they always stab it, cut it open, and then blow up Metropolis. I do not think we want Basil Thrall. I think this is too cute. Shriekmaw is probably playable as removal, yeah. Look at his cute little hands. Look at his cute little hands. I mean, this is really here. Ah! 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 Like, you just scroll through this page, and then anything you like, you put in. And that's all we're doing. Which I think this is another instance of, I believe you have these two things, and you just don't have the Phyrexian altar. So throw the altar in. It's another thing you can either tutor for, or if you draw it, you know which combo you're going to be aiming for. You could throw in this bullshit. Yeah. Near endless amount of things you can do. I don't actually like Priest of the Forgotten Gods as much, because so many of our slots are taken up by edict effects that I don't think we keep. A lot of other aristocrats decks will attempt to keep their fodder around, kind of like interns, to throw under the bus whenever they need to. Huh? Huh? Ah, Priest of. So anyway, this will not work very well for us because we almost never have two other creatures we are willing to collateral. So I'm going to put you over here. Yeah, so I don't think you need the blood combos. You really just need a bunch of sack loops, and then you need the tutors to get your sack loops more often. Heavenly Father, when does the fun start with aristocrats? Personally, I don't know, and that is why I am putting Sudsball in jail. I think this is a highly functional deck. They have reverse engineered the entire EDHREC section based on their ability to troll through the Scryfall records. But I think the point of this deck is I want to be able to enjoy Sephiroth. And to enjoy Sephiroth and to Sephiroth max, minimum bracket 3. Anything we try to do to enjoy this man in bracket 2 is like imagine Sephiroth trying to play like fucking flag football. Like he's getting low, but he still has the sword out, and he's trying to figure out how to tackle a child without cutting him in half. Like, it's just, It's gotta be war. It's gotta be war. I built this before Seph had an EDH rec page. So I'm gonna guess the EDH rec page is like an 85% match. Let's look. Let's look, right? Why don't we? There's one. I don't like the new card section because the new card section typically seems like bullshit. This is actively bad. There's two. Oh, we don't have the other Final Fantasy thing. 3, 4, 5, a 6, a 7, a 8, a 9. We didn't have this one. I don't know if we had Bastion of Remembrance. We do not. Another. We don't have this one. We don't have this one. Another. I don't think we have this one. Another. So there's a few things we are missing. Dark Rituals probably. Yeah, like, it's greedy, but high power mono black decks are the greediest things in the fucking world anyway. I think Bolus's Citadel is really like, you play this if you want to do the Reservoir top loop. And then, yeah, we start running the Demonic Tutors, the One Ring. If you want to stay bracket 3, which I think you can do bracket 3. You can do bracket 3 or bracket 4, but it's going to be high power regardless. If you do bracket 4, hey, buddy, put them all in. Put them all in. And if you do bracket 3, pick your favorite. Endrixar could be cute. This is a more like bracket 3 pick. I think I make this a 4. If I'm Sephiroth, I'm channeling the evil energy. As much respect as I can give an Aristocrats player. So yeah, just go hog fucking wild. Oh, here's one edict creature we missed. Islor, thank you for the 6 months in a row. 6 months of you making me a better person by making my decks worse. And I've loved every minute. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. And then here's another Demon's Disciple. I do think all of your edicts should be these. If you have any edict that is not a creature-based edict sacrifice, you should change it for a creature-based edict sacrifice. Outside of like... And then just have targeted removal for stacks pieces if somebody runs like a Hushbringer. Because we really, really want every edict to flip Sephiroth. Oh, and then we could also play Midnight Reaper. We could play Kirik and then just be a secret Kirik deck. And then you get the doubt. You get all the typical black bullshit. But he is cute. From art alone, I understand why you wanted to build this deck. I think mechanically, hopeless. Do your thing. Be the bad guy. Bring some theme music to play with you. And just go all in on, I am high power aristocrats. I am trying to make everybody at the table die. Yeah, he's the villain. You be the villain. I give you express permission. So Suds, thank you for the submission. We're going to hit another manual ad break. And then Dale, we're going to bring you down. I believe Douthy's anti-synergy. Oh, it might be. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Well, I do not believe this stops death triggers because the card still dies. They just go into exile instead of going to the graveyard. But they are still, it's not if something would die, exile it instead. It's if it would land in the graveyard after dying, it goes to, it does stop death triggers. Nope, doesn't, no, we're fucked. Okay. It's Leyline of the Void. Ah, yeah, okay. Then no Douthie. We don't get to do the fun Douthie things. Disappointing. Dying needs to see them enter graveyard. Okay. Then don't play this guy and play... How many people are wrong about this? Ah, even EDH Rec got it. I'm just going to leave us on this while we run the ad break. And we are back right on time. Little Mix Doom, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. So, Chief, Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy VII, Kefka or Sephiroth, absolutely insane wacko or twink with mommy issues and a long sword. Holy shit. We'll deal with that in a second. Our Durkazor, thank you for the 20 gifted community subs. I appreciate your continued generous contributions to Dog Heaven. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you big. Back to Little McDoom's question. The real answer is I will probably poll chat, and it will depend on what numbers they can pull. Anything I do for variety, people have to be interested in it. I am not big enough to just stream straight up whatever. I am big enough that I can stream variety things as long as they are still interesting to some degree. But it will probably be a vote. And then Dumb Paramecium, thank you for the 10 bits. Morning Mauled, I had a younger dude in the pod yesterday with a Ureni precon. He telegraphed everything and complained every time his board was interacted with, which was constantly because fuck that precon. We told him this wasn't slideshow night, but he kept complaining until after I kicked his teeth with my dumb arse Voltron deck. Was there a better way for me to have handled this? Without knowing a lot of the context, I'm going to say flatly yes, because there is always a better way that you could have handled the given situation. That does not mean it is worth torturing yourself about, but anytime you have a social interaction, particularly a social interaction that goes negatively, it's worth taking a few minutes to consider, could I have done that differently? Could I have managed that differently? I do that all the time. Every time the cameras go off on a roast stream, I think about every roast. I think about if there were better jokes I could have made. I think if I could have managed the chat conversation better. I think if I could have managed the roastees' expectations better. And this carries forward to when I have interactions with my friends, when I have interactions with fans at conventions. And I think you should do the same. I'm kind of light on details. It sounds like that person's new to Commander and does not understand how threatening their actions are. You can explain to them intellectually, hey, you're doing scary things, we have to deal with you. It's difficult to bridge the emotional gap to making that not feel bad. Like, a lot of people come into Commander thinking Commander is about we all take turns doing our cool thing. And even if you explain to them, like, no, this is we punch each other and see who gets the closest to their cool thing, it doesn't make it now feel bad. And yeah, the PowerPoint night allegory that I made is not deeply intuitive for most new players, because most new players do not understand interaction as a concept and do not accept it as a necessity to begin with. Yeah, we all took it in turns explaining that to him, kept whining that he was getting picked on. There's not a lot you can do at that point, because there's like, I will share with you a story that I think echoes this experience. To help convince you that you are in the right. I am going to establish myself as an authority of having good social interactions, which I definitely am because I'm a streamer, and you only get to be a streamer if you are a good and kind person. But I went to an RCQ for Pioneer once. I've been to a few, but there was one Pioneer RCQ I went to. I was playing, what's that dog shit broken deck? Amalia. Let me pull this up on screen. I was playing the Amalia combo deck because I was bad at 1v1, and I figured, okay, I'm going to be flubbing a ton because I'm not yet versed in competitive Magic. And so while I get used to competitive Magic, I'm going to play a very easy and very strong deck. Who cares? A bunch of other people are playing the deck. At this RCQ, I'm in Swiss. I sit down against a young kid. We have a little bit of small talk before the game begins. I don't think they, knew that I was like a TikToker or anything. And during our small talk, they're like, oh yeah, I'm playing Angels. Because I just fucking love Angels. I know they're bad. I'm trying not to have any expectations, but it's just my pet deck, and I'm going to keep trying to make it work. And I was like, oh, dog, I am so sorry to tell you, I am on Amalia, and that matchup spread is dog shit. Which was like information I don't think I had to reveal, but I was like, wherever your expectations are, set them low, because I'm about to fucking basically cheat at this game with how good this deck is. And they were like, oh, well, thank you for telling me, man. Let's get into it. And it was great. And they whined every turn of that game. I tried to play it off with funny rapport. I would like preempt spells with, okay, I'm going to play brain dead dog shit now. And they just bitched and moaned every single second that there was dead air. And after we finished this RCQ match, we parted ways. I went to go sit with my friends, and I think they went to go sit with their friends. And they spent the rest of the day not quite yelling, but doing that teenager volume level where everybody can hear them, but they're not quite screaming. Talking about how bullshit all the other decks at the RCQ was. Not just mine. This experience happened, I believe, with everybody who played with this particular young person. And they stopped me, and they stopped the other people they had been competing against as we would walk by to pull them into a conversation with their friends to like validate how broken our decks were and how unfair it was that they were trying to play angels. So I ceased participating in the bit the moment they attempted to pull me out of a conversation with my friend to parade in front of their friends and tell them how cool they were. I did not, yell at a child or say anything out of pocket, but I just went into like, that's the game, dog. You brought a known bad deck to a known competitive situation. I don't know what to tell you. And it sounds like the kid you dealt with was kind of in a similar position. Like, children have a very hard time understanding that life isn't fair. Viscerally understand. Well, and that's not unique to children. There's plenty of alleged adults who have just never learned that. But like universally, when we are young, we are possessed of a hope that life is fair and good things will happen to us because we are good. That is our ego attempting to set up shop inside our skull. And people are still figuring out what the line is between letting off steam and just ruining the fucking vibe. Starry-eyed Nightwing, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. There we go. I saw an earlier comment about the fursuit being released from the tariffs, so congratulations. Yeah, Paramecium. To me, that sounds like maybe you could have handled it better, but that child had already decided to handle it badly. If somebody else has made the decision to handle something badly, there's very little you can do to handle it well enough to de-escalate that situation. There's a lot of times when somebody's on the bubble, they're beginning to they're deciding to be angry, but once they decide to be stubborn and obstinate and mad about it, and especially once they've decided to be mad at you about it, you have to be like FBI negotiator, probably better than an FBI negotiator, to de-escalate that. Harafna, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Someone said earlier, both Final Fantasies are big games with large fan bases, so both will probably pull in viewers. Well, Mixed Doom, the more important thing is how much of my... Okay. Hella L, you are... Oh, no, it's Dale next. It's Dale next. Dumb Paramecium, thank you for the 10-bit cheer. Appreciate the insight as always, big dog. I got you. The more important part... I set up that sentence wrong. The important part is not how many Final Fantasy fans in the world can I pull in. The important part is what percentage of you guys, the regulars that typically come through to watch me on Twitch, will come watch me play Final Fantasy. Okay, I'm not going to set up a slide for it, but the conversion rate I'm typically looking for is 50% or more. Hey, what's up, Drake? Janice the janitor. Hey, Maul, general philosophy question. Do you think it's best to try to never be angry or let off a bit of steam being tilted at a game like League or something? I don't think you should never be angry. I think you should be very observant about the ways in which you express your anger. Some people will go, oh, I'm just letting off a little bit of steam, and yell really loudly, or hit their desk, or throw things, or punch a wall. And if you are cohabitating with anybody, that's not behavior that you should be engaging in. It's just not. Now, getting worked up about a game is typically a sign that you are emotionally invested in it. And being emotionally invested is good. If we want to enjoy something, it requires emotional investment. And when that emotional investment feels stymied or fucked with, it's going to make us upset. That's fine. But it's important to reflect on what's making me angry. Because there's times when people will get really angry at a game because they are playing it to attempt to get a form of... Like, they're playing it to achieve something that the game is bad at providing. And so sometimes you reflect on it and you go, oh, I shouldn't be playing this game right now. Like, some people will play League when they want a power fantasy. League is a terrible game for if you want to style on people. Sometimes League will have great moments of you styling on people, but the game's pretty good about matching you with skill level appropriate opponents. And it's also a team game. So if you're ever in a mood to stunt, and you go, yeah, I'll open up League of Legends, you've made the wrong decision. Or if you've played, or like God, one of the best things Z and I have ever done is start being very, very observant about how tired we are when we go to play League of Legends. League is a difficult game. It is not an easy game. It can be a funny game. It's a great game to play with your friends. It is a terrible game to play tired. You have to be mentally alert. Your fingers have to be quick. You have to be thinking about a lot of factors. And so that's another situation where League can make you really, really angry if you're engaging with it from a position that you probably shouldn't be engaging with it from. How are you today, boss? Quick question. Do you play Marvel Rivals? And if so, how do you feel about the new Marvel Rivals update? I don't really play it. I don't really like hero shooters very much. Memo Wolfie, thank you for the personal question. going off the previous question, how do you deal with people who refuse to understand that their lack of interaction with a permanent type you enjoy playing is not your fault, but theirs? It always seemed to end up in a situation where no matter what you say, you feel bad for wanting to play a deck that's not typically a creature deck that only they want to interact with. You can't force other people to be smart. Now, if you're an enchantment player, I take this back. You're wrong and evil. But in terms of like convincing other people that you're not diabolical just because you don't play a creature forward strategy, that's a learning experience for them. Like, you can try to play it off and be like, I don't know, dog, have you ever heard of a braid? And I think a lot of the friction that comes in here is from people who want to trash talk and are really, really, really bad at it. Like, just phenomenally bad. What's my beef with enchantments? I forget to run enchantment removal. That is the beef. It is my fault, and that's why I'm cooking the beef. It's not your beef. It's mine. Am I going to take it out on you? Yeah. Stop playing them. Come on. Please? But like, literally, my beef with enchantments is universally, fuck, I forgot to play enchantment removal. But ultimately, it's not your job to manage other people's emotions. It's good manners to not try to inflame them, but it's not your responsibility to make other people feel good about the cards you're playing. In terms of how you manage people's expectations, I think the best thing you can try to do is separate you from the situation. What's bad about the situation is that even though Magic is incredibly complicated, it's really just a big game of rock, paper, scissors with like a 30 item long drop down menu for what you can pick. And sometimes you pick paper and the other motherfucker picks scissors, which is typically the situation you're in when one of these, like, oh, you're playing an enchantments deck, for instance, and I don't have enchantment removal. That feels bad. That's a mismatch that feels bad. It, just because it's the deck building fault of the person who brought no generic removal, does not change that game is probably less interesting because of it. And so if you can figure out in your language, how do I separate, oh yeah, this is kind of a letdown game, from I'm not an asshole just because I like a card super type. Unless it's Planeswalkers. Unless it's Planeswalkers. How do I separate I'm not a jerk for having a deck like this versus like, oh yeah, this game is kind of anticlimactic because you can't interact with me. A ton of people will be entitled and take that too far and try to use it as an excuse to make you feel bad about the card super type you like, which they should if it's Planeswalkers. But ultimately, it's not on you. Sudsball, if I were to do a Mango Money Moment Hall of Fame, which you're definitely not, right? Would you prefer it in the form of bits, subs, or direct dono? So suds, it's always going to be direct dono for that, because Twitch takes a pretty meaningful amount of the revenue from stuff like subs and bits. They're still incredibly nice. They are still incredibly nice. But direct donation, like a direct donation through Ko-Fi, Ko-Fi's taking a relatively small percentage of. Yeah, Ko-Fi gets me the largest cut. Sarge133, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse. Stormblast, thank you for that personal question. Do you bring proxy decks to commander shows like Decked Out and Shuffle Up and Play? I do not believe it would be a good idea to confirm or deny that question based upon the fact that it may fuck with somebody's business that is not mine. If I were ever to host a Commander gameplay show, which I will not, I would allow proxies and basically exclusively play proxy decks there. But I think it would be untoward because of how quickly and aggressively Wizards of the Coast might react to me talking about the possibility of proxies, which I believe, like, I don't know what WotC and Props relationship is like. Et cetera, et cetera. But I am willing to light my business relationship with them on fire in service of being pro proxy. What's your hate with Planeswalkers? What did Ugin ever do to you? That's the worst one you could have picked because I'm a Nicol Bolas fanboy. You stupid motherfucker. You dumb son of a bitch. What did he do to me? He imprisoned his brother for no reason other than his brother was cooler than him. Fuck do you mean, what did he do to me? I'm following for picking the worst dragon? Bro, come on. Nikki B? You don't like Nikki B? This is my guy. Look at this Riz. Look at this Riz. Zacharoni885, thank you for the Prime sub, my friend. Welcome to the dog home. Hey there, Maul. I wanted your opinion on Counters Commander decks. I just finished watching your review vid on the Final Fantasy precons, and my first deck was a Counters deck with Aragorn, Company Leader. I thought Aragorn's second ability was cool, but playing it for one of my first few times a few days ago against friends, I felt like it didn't promote a really good game. I don't know, I guess I just wanted another perspective. Okay, since you're new, I will hold back attempting to be ridiculously clever, because when I try to be too clever, I get confusing and also a little bit rude. Counters decks are very powerful and very straightforward to the external eye while feeling very fair and earned from the perspective of the pilot. If you are playing a counters deck, as you do the things that push your game plan forward, you almost feel like you're leveling up in a video game. You feel like you're grinding it out, getting it out of the mud, perhaps even doing something smart or complicated. Across the table, what counters decks always look like is Oi! Did Danny fucking breathe again and get 15 more counters on his goddamn rhino? I fucking hate that guy. And so no matter what you do, the problem is counters are often pushed to people as a entry level or low power game plan, and they are kind of better as a mid power game plan. They fall off at high power because combat damage begins to fall off at high power, but they're a lot better above low power. But they get sold to all the new players as like this fun, silly low power thing. And so I think that's the heart of the bad feelings. And I personally, I don't think it gets better. I think it only gets worse. I think that decks like Titus and decks like Yuna, these are just, if you are yet familiar with the WotC bracket system, these are infinitely better as bracket 3 rather than bracket 2, which is where they are like traditionally pushed to people. All right, what the hell has this stream become? Vamp hour, dog. What do you mean? That's what it always is. When are we ever not vamping? And then the last thing before we do, also Noi, I see you. If we can do your roast off stream, I will likely do it this coming Wednesday. I doubt my jaw will hold up long enough to do it today. I appreciate you coming in to tell me. We will probably drop that on Wednesday, and then I will confirm with you via email that it has happened. If I did a Vincent Valentine deck where I give people shitty creatures then kill them to level up Valentine, is that just cope for trying to make a counters plus trample lifelink fun? No, I think that's real. Like, the thing is, mono black 1/1 counter is way worse. Once you take green and white out of your +1/+1 counters deck, much more fair. Or, like, much more room for sauce. Okay, and now, at long last, we will do the original rant from the first Fade King that we skipped 2 hours ago. Rant topic. Any deck that draws or controls forever without actually trying to close out the game, like my friend's Plagon deck. I think this is mostly a casualty of trying to force yourself into bracket 2 when you don't actually want to be there. I think if you're above bracket 3 or 4, a lot of this, and I hate that I'm going to defend the Azorius players, is bitch ass winery. A lot of the green players think the only legitimate way to win the game is by slamming a fucking 10-10 onto the board every turn. Some people don't know when to scoop, and some people make a control deck take infinitely longer than it should by, they'll look at the Azorius player with 8 open mana and 10 cards in hand. And instead of just casting whatever dumbass monster they want to cast and getting it counterspelled, they will spend 5 clear minutes yelling, howling, and seething about, oh my god, you're just gonna counter me. Whatever I do, please, bro, let's make a deal. If you let my Apex Devastator resolve, I'll hit you with it. And that's like the best deal they can provide. I think a lot of control decks would become immediately more acceptable if casual players knew when to shut the fuck up and pass. Everybody always wants their turn in Commander to be their turn getting the talking stick, and they want to have something good to say. It's the same impulse where if you've played D&D everybody wants to have a fucking zinger every time they take an action in combat. Sometimes you just don't have it. Now, if you have built your control deck with no win cons, yeah, you are an idiot. But Plagon and other decks that seek to be extremely high card draw engine control shells, it's going to take them a while to get there. That's how the deck is built. The deck is built to have a ton of card advantage, a ton of interaction, and then eventually it will find the win. But a lot of people will like people will watch the control player not put lethal on the board for 2 turns and then accuse them of not having a win con anywhere, which is just fucking ridiculous. You should be winning somehow, but there's plenty of control decks that don't want to, or where their plan is not to establish a lock. Their plan is to achieve so much card advantage that they can 1-for-1 you, and then they're digging for their answer. Because, like, variance is just a fucking thing. Sometimes the control deck will take a little while to get there, but can get there. And you'll just be like, oh my god, it's been 3 turns and you haven't played White Craterhoof. You're fucking with me. Or this could be a different situation of trying to play Plagon control in bracket 2, which I think is a mistake. I think control is one of those archetypes that is infinitely happier in bracket 3, bracket 4. I wish Plagon could target opponents' creatures too, or am I on crack? You are, but plenty of people like crack, so you're not alone. I think his specific win con is Labman. Oh, then he's just bad. He's on Plagon control card draw and he doesn't have approach to the second. Like, that is just lazy. If it is, I have 1 win con and it is decking myself out entirely, yeah, he's trying to jerk himself off in front of you. Don't let him do that. Whoever you are, I'm going to assume your name is like Riley. Stop it. So you should have multiple win cons in your control deck, or you should have like an infinite. Or you should at minimum have approach of the second sun. Yeah, it should not fucking be, I have to pick up every card in my deck 1 by 1, and then I will win with Labman. Like, this deck could even fucking just do this. What? It's so easy. It is almost mono green levels of easy in terms of how you can win with Plagon. Wants to keep it lower power. That is his mistake. This is not a commander that wants to be lower power in the first place. And the reason that deck sucks, which I'm now confident that deck does suck, is because it is a high power commander trying to figure out how to punch at 70% intensity. It's like, you know the thing when people are like, oh, do superheroes have to try super hard to not crush everything they touch? The deck is actually trying to do that. Control's not a lower power archetype. Eladrian Lol, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Okay. It is, I believe, Dale's time. We've got a spooky deck. Primer's in Moxfield. Power rating spooky, but after I made a silly aristocrats deck, I may not be the best judge. Right after we had the aristocrats deck where we said, make this bracket 4 because it's impossible to do this at low power. Dance of the Blades. Oh, you're in Boros? Yeah, this is silly. 6 mana Boros commander. Affinity for equipment. Oh, equipment? Yeah, we're back to silly. Whenever an equipped creature attacks, exile top your library. You may play that card and you may cast equipment spells for free. So this instantly to me is screaming, we want living weapon because we want multiple equipped creatures. We want living weapon. We want job select. We want for Mirrodin. Okay, card draw. Fucking sure. Nope, you're gonna have equipped creature. What's going on? What's going on? What's happening, dog? Sure. No. No. Possibly. Is the spookiness coming from how you feel trying to play the deck? Is that what's going on here, Dale? Oh wait, hold on. Is Dale back on YouTube? I see. Ugh, I do not have fucking timestamps on YouTube chat. I'm going to hold here at 7 pieces of card draw that are objectively terrible. Except for Esper Sentinel and maybe Archivist of Ogma until I get verbal confirmation of life from Dale. Dale's here. Okay. I did wonder if I needed better card draw. Alright, so we have card draw engine dependent on opponents. Card draw engine dependent on opponents. Card neutral. Card negative. Card neutral. Card neutral. Card neutral. We have 7 cards that do have the words draw and card on them. We have nothing that constitutes card advantage, and equipment is generally a strategy that wants to do a little bit of vomiting. To be fair, Commander provides card advantage. Do not enable the Boros players, Raw. Enjoy your ban. Removal. Alright. Sure. We've got some highly generic shit. No problem. Generic good card. We are. I will give you generic card. Give them a gun. Flatly ridiculous. There's potential here. This is generic good card for Boros equipment. Sure. Maybe. Doubt it. Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Come on. Come on, dog. We can't. Daddy, can I please be in the commander deck, Daddy? I have so many Girl Scout badges, Daddy. I have so many words on me, Daddy. The label maker, they went to town, Daddy. Oh, and we have 33 lands? And our 6 mana commander? Alright. Alright. Improving violence. So more equipment, good stuff. Sure, sure, sure. Sure. Alright. It's alive. So I think this should actually be most of our equipment. Drop this game changer right now. If you walk into a bracket 3 game, you are not walking out with all your toes. I'm telling you this on your behalf, Dale. Please, we cannot bring a game changer into this disaster. All right, the armory. Righto, righto. My chest hurts. Let me just see how it does right now. Hell yeah, fighter class. I love that. Hell yeah, Flare Husk. That's a card. Boom. I have a germ. Type shit. Type shit indeed. I will do this. I know it's not a germ, but I get a 1/1 off of this guy. That enters tapped. That makes me sad. I'll play that. I will play the Hidden Footblade. So I have 2 equipments, and at the end of my turn, I get an extra guy. So my commander's now 4 mana. I have a 1/1, and I have a 2/1. I can play Nihiri. I can swing 2 equipped creatures. Can't play either of those. Amazing. You know what, Dale? Nobody blocks you. They're too busy weeping. We get another guy. Lands. Who needs them? We swing, we exile 2. We could get Ginger Brute. I don't think that matters. Fighter class. I get the Buster Sword, and I play it. I have an extra 1/1. Nobody's mean to us because they are either cackling or weeping. I put the Buster Sword on this guy and act like I don't know nobody. 3 things. I can free cast this. I hit with the Buster Sword and I play this guy. So I think the I think the overwhelming issue here is that we have taken a commander that you do not want to commander max, and we have attempted to commander max them. Nihiri is a strong, independent woman. If you are trying to date her, you cannot be all up in her face, sniffing around her all the time. You got to let her handle her business, and then you two go out for a lovely dinner and talk about it and share a wonderful experience in the park. What we're trying to do is, oh god, oh fuck, how can I get as many shitty equipped creatures onto the field as possible to make the affinity work to then get my commander in play? I think it's okay to want the commander to be cost reduced, but for the most part, we want a deck that is going to function, that is going to be like 80% of the way there without Nihiri, and Nihiri is just there to help us refill our hand after we play a good game plan otherwise. And so I think we go significantly down on bad equipments. Like, I think Bloodforged Battle Axe, incredibly cute idea for I will simply punch more equipments out of people to continue getting affinity. Just play a land. Just play a land. And then we keep the good equipments, and we probably want... Let's look at what our living weapon and for Mirrodin options are. So there is like Bitterthorn, and specifically for living weapon, I want it to be stuff that we're not going to swing and have killed immediately. Most of the paths we had to get an equipped creature on board involved handing an 8-year-old a sword and pushing them into the middle of Vietnam, which actually kind of was part of Vietnam, which is really fucked up. But so like living weapon that we like, we probably want, if we want shitty ones, we want something like Mandibular Kite. We want something that's going to give some form of evasion so that we don't just get crushed instantly. Or we want things like Bitterthorn, where we get an attack trigger that we care about before the thing dies. And then the rest of these, like we want Cauldron Compli 8, because this is a fucking honker. It's a stone cold honker. But the rest of these are mostly dog shit. You could maybe get Nettlecyst to go, but I think we're going to go down on artifacts. You could even do... Oh, God, the equip cost is so heavy, though. I'm going to take that back. Let's see what else. Okay, Bladehold Warwhip, boom. 4 Mirrodin, big Boros energy. We get a double striking creature. Glimmer Lens, we can turn all of these shitty, like, living weapon 1/1s and 2/2s into card draw for us. Alright, good. So we have the good one. Fuck Batterbone. Fuck Barbed Spike. Well, I guess it makes a flying creature, so maybe not fucked. Fuck Ancestral Blade, though. We can probably make the Hex Gold Hoverwings work. But let's just go through, and I'm gonna call out the cuts. Crimson Wisps, Faithless Looting, Thrilling Discovery, Thrill of Possibility, 2 Arms. we will come back for you. Akiri Lineslinger. Gingerbrute. Ornithopter, Rograk, Stonecoil Serpent, Swiftblade Vindicator. Ancestral Blade, Batterbone, Flayer Husk, Smothering Tithe, Seething Song. You cannot be trusted with this. I will attempt to let you keep these. And then let's also look at what job select stuff we have access to. Okay. Dragoon's Lance fulfills the role of this will be flying when we care about it having flying. Machinist's Arsenal will probably be pretty decent considering we're so big on equipment. You could try the Chakrams, but just having a 3/3 with lifelink, I am not very confident in. 10,000 Needles. Thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. And then what other equipment are we just missing? We're probably missing at least one of the swords. And we're also missing... We also have to replace all of the card draw, because we're really just keeping like Esper Sentinel and Archivist. So I think we go for... SRAM at minimum. There's other generic... There's, yeah, Pure Steel Paladin. This will also give us the good Metalcraft effect. There's also Stoneforge Mystic, which is just second Cloud. Based on the types of things we're creating, I am down with Welcoming Vampire, because if we do Living Weapon and 4 Mirrodin, yeah, we make a 1/1 and then we attach it. So we'll... Wouldn't work with some of them. Okay. Yeah, so like this one, it wouldn't work. 10,000 Needles. Thank you for the Prime sub, my friend. I appreciate that generosity. Oh yeah, and we get to play cooler Sephiroth. Well, not cooler, but we get to play fairer Sephiroth. Because we're gonna have a ton of wide modified creatures, and Sephiroth will be like, okay, now you're all good. And then the living weapon stuff we're using can be used as sack fodder to bring him back to the field. Yeah, cut Akiri. Cut the Akiri you have for other Akiri. I was debating if Sephiroth might just be a better commander for this. Truly, I think so. If you, whenever I see somebody pick a very hot person as their commander, I presume there's at least a little bit of crushery going on, like with the previous Sephiroth Aristocrats deck we looked at. If you are not married in your mind to Nihiri, new Sephiroth probably runs the exact same deck and probably runs it better. And then and if you run new Sephiroth, you might stop deluding yourself into thinking you only need 33 lands. Kami of Celebration for... is possible. It's gonna get... I would prefer for us to have more cards in hand, because like Impulse Draw is really good when you get out of hand quickly. We are very much in hand. We are in very good, calm, and polite hands currently. And so I would legitimately, like, if we want cards, I would just look across the table at... Oh, I spelled that wrong. I would rather just look across the table at whoever else is having a tough game and be like, what if you and me drew 3 cards? And then I think we're missing a fair amount of the mono white catch-up ramp package. There are other things that we can put in that are going to be like creature-based. Yeah, hey, look. First strike makes them an equipment target. They will tutor for a plains, gives you a land. This is your shit. Vigilance makes them an equipment target. Tutors for plains. These are the lands. Bad equipment target. However, ETB catch-up ramp. And then there's like a hawk that does this too, where if you hit an opponent and they have more lands than you, you bounce the hawk to hand. Cartographer's Hawk. Woo! Aki Battle Squad. It's not good, but neither is this deck. Okay, so actually, I'm going to use this as the reason you should swap this to a Sephiroth list, because this card is bad. But consider, equipment's really bad. In the Nihiri list, if we do all the living weapon stuff, this is, I get an extra combat phase with a bunch of terrible 2/2s. They don't need the extra combat phase. They're not making it out of the first combat phase. However, if we play Sephiroth and then we play Aki Battle Squad the next turn, you probably kill a bitch. Turn 5 Sephiroth, turn 6 Aki Battle Squad, everything is a 7/5 and it gets an extra combat phase now. That's sick. That is a little bit sick. BCC MTG Con Queso, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Oh yeah, and then another good little boy for the dirty land rampers is Deep Gnome Terramancer. You can hold this up for people cracking a fetch land, for people casting ramp, yada yada yada. There's also Idol of Oblivion. There is also Benny Brax. I think Benny Brax is actually preferable to a lot of the Welcoming Vampire stuff because we might non-bow ourselves. We might non-bow ourselves with the specific tokens we make, but we are making tokens. Hexplate Wallbreaker. I think it's possible, yeah. Mask of Memory wouldn't be bad. What worries me about Mask of Memory is the earliest we are equipping this is turn 3, and the path we want this deck to take is between turn 1 and 5. I want to ramp on at least one of my turns. I would like to play a living weapon or a Mirrodin equipment on minimum one of my turns, ideally 2. And then I would like to play Cloud and make them imposing creatures, and then the turn after that I would like to play something that gives me an extra combat or gives everything double strike, yada yada yada. So the things we want to play, even though it's not technically equipment, the things we want to play post Cloud are things like that. Oh, we're getting rid of the discard, Xylo. Don't you worry your head about that. We already recommended Glimmer Lens. Is there room to flicker the token ETB equipments? Absolutely not. Hard no. We are already full of nonsense. Our nonsense is I am playing 4 Mirrodin equipment and I am trying to make modified creatures win a game of Magic. Thundering Raiju might be a good ad. I really don't think so. I think we're gonna have like 2 or 3 modified creatures. I think it's really gonna be milquetoast compared to just getting Sephiroth on the field. I do think, let's see. Halvar. Oh yeah, this guy's perfect. This guy's perfect. It gives us the ability to move some equipments around. We can play an equipment if we feel like playing badly. It's going to give us double strike, which matters for the combat damage. No. No. Zach Atch, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Dumb Paramecium, thank you for the 1-bit cheer. Stone Hewer Giant. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, sure. It's slow. It's transparent. That is what armies are like. And then let me just think of now, because we've got more than enough living weapon-esque equipments. We have We have an idea of how we're going to win. It's Sephiroth. I think part of what makes Giant good is that it attaches the equipment for free, but our equipment already comes with creatures attached. Right. But that part's still good. Like, that's the... Part of the power budget in this card is you get the free attach. But this just means that if we have an equipment that is, like, particularly good... Like, Bladehold War Whip is probably better on Sephiroth than it is on the 2/2. Shadow Spear seems like an auto-include. That's fake and wrong. Shadow Spear is quite bad. But we just care about, hey, either I get a new modified creature for free, or I get to put one of my really good equipments onto a creature. On top of it. Absolute. Okay. Twitch chat is instantly lost in the sauce. The other, yeah, Sunforger. All right, everybody go to bed. Twitch, we're now banned from community suggestions for this sword, or for this deck. And I think in the context of how we're going to change this deck, you end up dumping Diamond Pickaxe. This is in here because you have a deeply irresponsible land base, and we're just going to have you clean your room. I would cut Shadow Spear as well, unless you are playing against Indestructible Justin. I think Footblade's cute. I will let you keep that. I will let you keep this in the pet card sanctuary if you like it as a pet card. If you put it in here thinking it was really strong, I have terrible news for you. I know there's other fucked up Final Fantasy cards that care a lot about equipment. So whatever, we don't want that, we don't want that. We're not huge on moving stuff around. Dale, you and me, we're going to think about if this is good enough in the context of modified creatures. I think it's a bit weird for the curve. I think there is some dopamine that we can extract from doubling up on these like Mirrodin shitheads, but the ones I'm thinking of that make me happy with Furion are like, I make 2 Bitter Thorns and then I ramp twice. We don't have a ton of... I don't think we have the critical mass of like attack triggers or damage triggers that we need, because he just ends up like we get it for the turn and then the germ we make dies too. It could get us more 1/1s if we're bigger on job select. Like the Mirrodin guys and the job select guys stick around, but they stick around pretty bad. So Gilgamesh is look at top 6. You can put equipment from among them onto the battlefield. Probably find a slot for him to play in the post-cloud section. Shadow Walker, thank you for paying to try to break the Twitch embargo. Weapons vendor from the Final Fantasy set. I don't think this is true. You all stay in jail. I cannot believe how they massacred my fucking boy. Okay, but I think we find room for Gilgamesh. I think we look longingly at Firion, but we don't find a spot for him that we're really happy with. And you gotta go up to like 38 lands. We have to break you of this idea that you are successfully cheating the mana authorities. You are not. So we get the extra card draw engines in. We get more of the equipment specific tutors in. We get better, still shitty equipments, but we get better shitty equipments in. And then we try to go crazy with Sephiroth being our finisher rather than being our advantage engine. And then we're good to go. Or actually, I'm gonna agree with Edithel from YouTube and say this little twunk can make it in too, because he can sacrifice himself such that Sephiroth might live. But you're gonna need to cut a ton of stuff. You're gonna need to kill a ton of your darlings because you are working with 5 cards that should just be lands. But this is the last Final Fantasy card that gets to come in for you. So Dale, I like the dream. I like the energy. This shit ain't spooky. We might have to come up with a new category called Goofy just for this deck. But you can make a hot Sephiroth deck that is trying to have the same energy and will actually work and will probably honk. So we are going to place you. You're not in YouTube short behavior. I think we're just lost right now. We're trying to do Boros. We're trying to do like Final Fantasy was the set that made medium wide modified creatures work, and you tried to build it mostly without Final Fantasy stuff, save for best bracket 2 equipment in the game, fuck you MLP, and then 3 of the guys. So yeah, fuck it up. Play some video games. So thank you, Dale, for submitting. We're going to get the pre-roll demons away with a manual ad break, and then Hella L, it's your time. All right, gang. We're back. We're locked in for the next round of the Cuck Chair. Twitch is going to be out of jail for suggestions on this one. Hey, Gundam Unicorn, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I hope you're enjoying your time back into MTG. Then I'll catch up on these between roast rants. Little Mixed Doom, do you have any opinion on people who build anti-control decks? I played against someone who had a Surik, Dragonclaw in the command zone, and the deck was full of stuff like Rurik Thar and draw punishing effects, just generally stuff that strongly punish control decks. I think most of the time that's correct. Like, people don't build enough to counter the strategies that tend to counter them. If you are doing Team Your Stompy, most of the things that can stop you are non-creature game plans. And so if you build a deck that counters it, yeah. And I think that's also like, that's par for the course with Magic is a diverse enough game, or Magic is a game with enough support for so many archetypes, it's very possible to build a deck that only does one thing. And if your deck only does one thing, you are opting into getting blown 10 miles out of the water every couple games. That's just how it is. If you want to build like, hey, this is my deck where all I do is build train tracks and then I let trains run all day, sometimes you will play against Larry the Train Bomber. That's how the game is. And really doing Team Year, my stuff can't be countered, I play Rurik Thar, I punish people drawing. Is it prejudiced? Yes. Is it effective? Also yes. Because it's like, if you're playing the Team Year Stompy deck, who's going to beat you? The person that's going to beat you is the combo player or the person that is one-for-oneing you with a card draw engine on board. And if you just go like, on average, all of my creatures are better than yours, yeah, your deck should be geared around forcing people to engage with your game plan or punishing them for not engaging with your game plan. Okay. Hella L, it's your time. Oh wait, we have Eric Bombs rant. Hey Mauld, I'm salty, as I've still played less than 10 Commander games, and I just had one where I joined a bracket 2 game, explained I was new, a guy slammed down Trouble in Pairs and Baloth fast and just sat around talking about how happy he was Trouble in Pairs was off the Game Changer list and killing me would ruin his plan. I don't know if he cast his commander. I scooped after he had the answer to stop removal again. How do you feel about strategies that want people on life support as long as possible? I tend to scoop out of those games too. They are valid strategies. This is a political game where we have multiple people trying to win a free-for-all. You are remiss to not use other people as bait, human shields, or non-consensual blood transfusion sacks when necessary. It is not only right, it is appropriate. I don't like being the transfusion sack on the hook, and so I will kick and scream and do whatever I can to get out of it. But that is the game. That is the game. Trying to keep other people alive to muddle threat assessment, trying to push somebody else to look more threatening than they are, keeping somebody else around to use them for card draw triggers, like, that's how you should play the game. Now, does that help if somebody's being really fucking annoying as they monologue about it? No. That's why God invented scooping on the 8th day. Okay. We're going to do Hella L. Dumb Paramecium, thank you for the 4-bit cheer. If I end up building Marvo top deck, is it fucked up and wrong to run miracles? Yes, but not because you're evil, because it's just ineffective. If you're doing a lot of top deck, the type of top deck control you have to do with Marvo tends to not work very well with miracles, because you're trying to manipulate the top deck for the clash win. And if you do miracles on top of that, they're probably never going to be the first card you draw every turn. You can try it. It will feel disjointed and distracted outside of one or two of the best miracle cards. There is surely at least a card with miracle worth running in that game plan. If you attempt to make it a miracle sub-theme, you will be sad, and I invite you to try it. Alright, Hella L. This is designed to be a fight deck. Get Marika out ASAP. Take advantage of her indestructibility on my turn as much as possible. Find ways to make her smash face harder. Currently, I feel like I produce more mana than I can use, but I'm not sure how to go about using it effectively. Also, I'm concerned about whether I need more protection, because right now that's very limited. You know what? Raw, I get it. I'll say that. Heart goes out to you. I'd like to keep as much of the New Capenna theming as possible. I love the Art Deco feel of that set, and sacrificing some potency to maintain that is alright with me. So we are going for an aesthetic vibe. Understood. Betting on the fight. Oh. Oh. Well, it is successfully Art Deco because we're one card in and I fucking hate how it looks. This one's good. No. Well, maybe. Yeah, it's probably safely one, but I don't think so. No. Yes. All right. Pulling it back. We're already going to have to get into a philosophical discussion. Like, we're already going to have to get into the philosophy of... So, like, we have this stuff, right? What is the mixture we're willing to allow of, like, generic veggies that are not Art Deco versus, like, they're not going to take over your game plan? Because we have... These are, and because you're a new player, I'm doing my best to be nice. These are mostly New Capenna cards you think look dope. Are we aligned on that? Man from New Capenna who got that shit on. Yup. Perfect. All right. I will say this from a philosophical perspective. If we want the deck to be effective, Marika is a bad general for a New Capenna characters who got that shit on. We can revisit that later in the deck. Ramp not shiny, ramp shiny. Okay, 10 pieces of ramp, not horrible. Aggravated assault. We do probably want to go into extra combats at some point. I like Rhythm of the Wild. Yeah, Team Your Battle Rage is just a good combat trick for America. Dope. Yes, but mommy has a big hammer. That's so true. And what I would like to... Okay, all right, now I've caught you. New Capenna is so big, it is like a TV series. An individual commander deck is like an episode of that series. It is not possible or desirable to attempt to capture every character from the series in every individual episode of a series. Can we agree to that? Yes, I can see that. Okay, great. Then, so what I'm going to posit to you, it would be entirely reasonable to have multiple Capenna themed decks. Capenna is that cool. That's part of why I love Henzi so much. There are a couple things that I'm going to propose belong in different narrative arcs than Marika's. Zeatora is one of them. Black Market Tycoon is not terrible in Marika, but our commander's so expensive, we don't want to be paying for this with treasure. If we pay for our 5-mana commander with a payday loan, we will be paying for it with our shin bones 1 turn later. Because notably, Indestructible's good. The most common piece of removal in the format is an instant speed exile spell. We have some built-in protection that does not work on the most common piece of removal run in the game. See, like, this is hot. Capenna is hell. Who cares if it happened on a different plane? This is Marika's pet fucking mole. Yes. Immediately, yes. And like, crew... Oh. Okay. I can do this. I qualified for Mensa. I can make Crew Captain a good Magic card. She does look very cool. I can put this up as this is the archetypal cool Capenna card we want to be front and center in our Marika deck. So Jaxus is good for that. What we want to utilize here is the indestructibility because it entered the battlefield this turn. So we have Jaxus, they can do that. Kogla and Yadaro can't really help with that, but it is a fight on entry. So I'm actually going to put this on the bubble. I don't think it matches the... This has nothing to do either from an art basis or a flavor basis. This is just a big fucking cool guy. Plasma Jockey, this is almost clever. Because we can sort of mandate which of an opponent's creatures are going to block for us. Horrible. I can do this. Sure. Shakedown Heavy. Quite bad, but sure. I like this guy. I have this guy in my Henzi deck as a pet card, so I get you here. Give me cards. Death Reap, Infiltration Lens, Morbid. Okay, this is actually far from the worst card draw section I have ever seen out of a new player. Make Mommy Brawl. Oh, right. This is such a new card. I'm sorry to tell you it's terrible. If we want this to be we currently have 2 pet cards that are like straight up abysmal. We have 2 pet cards that do not deserve to be here in any situation. That's Boxing Ring, and that is Riveteer's Initiate. Because what Marika wants us to do is we want Marika to deal excess damage to creatures. This ain't doing shit about any of that. And then for the Boxing Ring, we just are not in control of our curve like that. If we were all in on like Hydras, the Hydra Boxing Ring is a totally different... The Hydra Boxing Ring is a totally different like deck. Totally different deck we can build. The fight spells are good because that's how we're going to make people sacrifice non-creature, non-land permanents. Make mommy strong. Holy God, this is bad. Okay, I can see this. See, like, he's quite good. I can see Guardian Augmenter. Okay, here's a really good example, actually. What I'm going to posit to you, you are trying to build a really bad deck and a really good deck at the same time, and you have succeeded. And now you are... like, you are performing a ballet recital with a grenade up your ass. It might be a compelling, evocative performance, and everybody might die at any moment if you clutch too hard. Because we have stuff like Xenagos, which this motherfucker's not from Capenna. This motherfucker's not Art Deco. This motherfucker is in here because he's really good at making things punch hard. And then we also have one of the single worst cards I have ever seen, solely because it has the new Capenna logo on it. That is a difficult thing to have coexist in one deck. And if I can put it in the context of the WotC bracket system, we have a bracket 1 inclusion and a bracket 2 verging on low bracket 3 inclusion. And so that is something that I think we really want to tighten up if we want this to be a... It's because it's a Fight Club theme deck, and I thought Capenna was this fun setting. Right, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying, while you are accurate on flavor, the mechanical consequence of being flavor accurate is deleterious to the overall experience of the deck. It's, like, we may be technically correct. It does not mean that the outcome is desirable. I'm trying to think of a good... I'm coming up dry on a good analogy for this. All I've got in my head is like, it's like saying, oh, I really like stained glass windows. And so I had a tattoo artist tattoo a stained glass pattern of a dog shitting on the inside of my eyeballs. It is stuff that we like and said we want more of. It is not an end point that we want to be at. And that's what I think is going on here, is like, it's both Riveteer's Initiate and Xenagos God of Revels are appropriate for a Fight Club deck. But Riveteer's Initiate is only appropriate for a Fight Club deck thematically whereas Xenagos, God of Revels, is appropriate for a Fight Club deck mechanically. I'm cool with making swaps as long as the vibe stays intact. Okay. Rigging the fight. Sure. Somebody talked. Good, plenty of interaction, and then a shitload of lands that we can probably go down on a little bit. So let me see this. Let's investigate this alleged vibe. Wah, wah, wah. I hit everybody. I hit everybody a million times. I swing as much as I can. I was holding up mana to Malakir Rebirth if I have to. We can prize fight something. We can prize fight something to get a treasure and get rid of another non-creature, non-land permanent. Then I swing Marika again. What can I get out of here? Someone probably shoots Ansrag because they're worried about an infinite TBH. Yeah, and they should. Ansrag should be shot on sight. I'm not feeling the Fight Club energy, to be frank with you. I'm feeling the stompy energy. Honestly, I think the best thing we could do to maintain the vibe is take the shittiest cards and replace them with things that fight. I think Ram Through is going to be a non-bow specifically because it talks about, yeah. Or, well, if the creature has trample. Does Marika have trample? She does not. So Ram Through will actually work for our purposes. Yeah, we need more things to force people into the ring, I think. And then if we want to, let's see, we have betting on the fight. So instead of these types of guys, the person who's going to be betting on the fight is Zyra the Golden Sting. This is still Art Deco. She is from Dominaria, but she does have that type of New Capenna shit on. And this is going to let you mark targets so that you can draw cards and then get chump blockers off of winning your fights. There is not a more straight up and down, I am betting on the fight, I am getting you a benefit when you win the bet, and she has that shit on. So I would recommend her immediately. Oh. Oh, yes. Oh, this is the pinnacle of the deck. How much does this cost? Oh, shit. Only $1. Perfect. This replaces fucking the boxing ring. This is what we need. Yes, this is the shit. Oof. I think we're gonna lose back. Okay, so if I handed you a Sharpie and I crossed out the words back for more and I wrote in, I didn't hear no bell. Can we do something? Can we do something? Because I think that is on vibe, and I think some level of recursion is probably necessary. Bushwhack, just straight up good. My big lesbian is going to bushwhack you now, is a funny sentence on its own. Perfect, if Back for More is already in considering. So this is either going to get you a land, or you get to do a fight thing. Alright, so let me talk to you about the value of trample with your monster roll tokens. So when we get America nice and big, we want to deal excess damage, but you only have to deal 1 excess damage. You are allowed, as the pilot, to choose how much damage you distribute to the creature and how much damage you distribute to the player. We don't want to spend all game hitting 1/1s with the people's elbow off the top ropes. Maybe you do, but you will just lose all of those games and they will become kind of boring relatively quickly. But if we use these bad cards that become better in America, and we give America trample whenever we can, that will give us an opportunity to get more direct damage through to the players, which is also quite important for us. I really don't want to recommend Planeswalkers, but this could be like Ring Boy, right? Like the announcer. Hell yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. If we go all in on this fight stuff, Bow Razor Regent can become a good top end because that makes America grow forever and ever as a threat. Gimli's Reckless Might is almost there. America is only 1 shy of doing this. There's probably something fucking dumb you can do with Grothama, since you can make America deal 7 to it. But our board has to get wide for this to be a payoff. How do you feel about worm wrestling? How do you feel about Noble Quarry? I don't think we want Noble Quarry as much. We don't want all creatures able. Maybe we do. It just starts to get hard to deal. I mean, I guess she has indestructible, so like who cares if we can't deal overkill to every single thing? We could try this, yeah. Inscription of Abundance is just stone cold good for you. Either you use it as a low fight spell, or you get life gain, you build up Marika, and you make it fight something. I mean, this guy's art might not be on the level, but if the name is not, I don't know what the fuck is. So you don't need to have absolutely all of these, but I think that is the direction you go. We take the things that are really, really weak flavor includes, and we swap them for fight spells, because based on the stated vibe of the deck, if it is a fight spell, it is on vibe. You do have Neath, so we put in more fight spells, and then let me think about Champion Payday, because there's... Now, the issue here is finding ones that have art. Fuck you, it has the logo. I will hear no backtalk. I will hear no backtalk, it has the goddamn logo. Eat it. Eat it. Draw your goddamn cards. So I think the other thing we would want to do is get stuff equal to creature power. Oh, I like Chandra's Ignition for the flaming lesbian joke alone. Chandra reference, that helps. Marika big, it doesn't say combat damage. You yell flame on, board wipe, fuck up everybody's permanence. Easy. So those, I think, are the three pillars of what we're doing. Is we have we have this, and then I think we want other things that are like... It's like Wild Speaker or something. There's like Return of the Wild Speaker. There is Life Stream's Blessing. There's Rishkar's Expertise. But I think all of these should be flavored as like the prize money. Please, for the love of God, do not put in Belt of Giant Strength. So this is how I would flavor your prize money, because we are going to need card draw at some point. All of the stuff that you are casting, a good thing to begin holding in your mind is what cards do I want to cast before my commander, and what cards do I want to cast after my commander? This is the type of deck that wants to cast their commander as soon as possible. All the stuff you want to cast before is ramp, or you want to play a land. The stuff you want to cast after is either a fight spell, or it is something that is going to turn Marika into a ton of cards to have a bunch of fight spells. I'm also going to hit you with the, if you like Ruby Daring Tracker, wait till you meet Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia. They look the exact same. You can convince me to cut Ruby. You cannot convince me that Ruby is on theme and Gwenna is not. So this is a dork that will tap for 2. Dork that will tap for 2 and will untap and get bigger. Oh, does Return of the Wild Speaker not work? Ah, yeah. So Return of the Wild Speaker specifically will not work. There are a number of these cards that say draw cards equal to greatest power, and you want a couple of those. We have Neath already. I don't like Selvala because she a bitch. I'll say it. Nothing about this says Fight Club. Nothing about this says Capenna. This is elf ball through and through. Hell yeah, we're... This is like, I don't know, a projector image of America. We're not stretching, you're stretching. Shut up. But I think that's how you do it. You have ramp, you get to America, you have America fight, or you have America collect her prize money. Do not play Leyline Axe. And then I think the cuttables are probably like Kogla and Yadaro on basis of vibe. Ooh, there was the... We can do first responder, which is Capenna, so has the logo. We can play that off as like the medical team. And this is low-key a way to protect any of your big hasty things, which we don't have too much. So if you want to keep Kogla and Yadaro, it works best with Kogla and Yadaro. I really like it. I like it only for crew captain. I'm not thinking of the Raccoon Warrior. I'm thinking specifically, this card began whispering in my mind when I was racking my brain for how do we make crew captain playable, and first responder is how. So I think this would be a cute flavor include that could protect America if you put in other haste enablers. It's not going to be the most functional thing though. But it is funny. If you want to keep Kogla if possible, look for a spot for first responder. First responder plus monkey is quite funny. So I'm gonna put you, I mean, we're deep. We're deep here. We are deep down in the corner, cracking wise with fucking Riveteer's Initiate and Plasma Jockey, but at least we're having a good time. Kogla and Yadaro doesn't work with the responder. Why not? What about it? What about it doesn't work with the responder? You have responder in play. You play... Okay, excellent. Please go to timeout for the rest of stream. Alright, so I think that's where we're going to end it for this deck. I like it. I think we can improve it a fair bit, and I think we just go over the top on Fight Club stuff rather than going over the top on generic Capenna stuff. And then, okay, so we have Noi and Jack card. We are going to delay those two for... We're going to delay those two until tomorrow. My migraine is only increasing in ferocity, and I doubt I will be able to keep it up for the extra, like, hour or two we would have to go. Mauled, how do you feel about Esper Connive decks? Fuck them, because I've lost to one once. And Shadow Walker, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Fiend Lash and more expensive Lothian Blade. No. No. Don't do that. And then Gorbash, we will have to reschedule. We will have to reschedule as well because I don't think I've seen them today. So I will reach out to them. We're still going to do at least... Oh, you are here. All right, then we can do you before we end for the day. But Jack and Noi we will do on a future day. We are going to hit a 1-minute ad break to make sure we have time for Gorbash. So see you all soon. We will do Darkest Dungeon tomorrow. We're going to have time. We only have like 1 or 2 makeups to do. And then we'll be good to go. I already have 2 strictly Phyrexian decks, and my Phyrexian Obliterator is in one of those. What the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, Gorbash, if you can come tomorrow, I would prefer to delay you until tomorrow so that I can be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Lemon, the next free roast day is probably going to be Saturday, June 7th. All right, dope. I appreciate your patience. Manabites, thank you for the Prime sub for the 6th month in a row. We are going to raid out from here, and we'll be back live at noon tomorrow. We're going to do Gorbash's deck, I think Jack Card's deck, probably, and Noi's going to be on Wednesday. So we're going to do 2 decks tomorrow, then we're going to do Darkest Dungeon, and we're supposed to be doing some type of collab with Kuro. I just don't know what it's going to be. So let's find somebody to raid. Elk is live. Oh, Andy's hungover, so be super fucking annoying. Please hit them with the indestructible Justin Rant, accessible with exclamation point Voltron. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for the follows, the subs, the bits, any type of support you have given, financially or not. I hope to see you all tomorrow, and please remember to stay toxic. YouTube, that's just it for us, but I will see you tomorrow.